Sarah and I, we met later in life, so we'd both previously been married and both previously had children. I just got to know this absolutely amazing woman who was a mum and had these fantastic children that I'd never seen any of them argue, which is really unusual in a family dynamic, because she just had the ability to talk to people, so people were able to talk to her, and I just saw a different side of life through Sarah. She made me feel more loved than anybody in my life, and that was a really, really beautiful thing. It was when we came back from the hospital that day and we'd had the final diagnosis, definitely had cancer. This was the type of cancer, this was going to be the treatment, and of course we told the children. She cried and she couldn't stop crying, so I'm trying not to cry, I'm trying to be strong. And I said, look, why don't you go for a lie down? And I took her upstairs to bed. It felt like 5 minutes later, she come bounding in the front room, and this is Sarah all over. She stood in front of me like that and looked at me and went, I've made a decision. And of course my head is racing. She could come out with anything right now. What's this decision? You know, I don't know what this is going to be. And she just went, I've made a decision. This cancer might kill me, but it is not going to stop me living. And I tell you now, that was the start of the rest of our life with cancer, because she literally lived by that for the rest of our life together. I've got Sarah's top on today. So Sarah started up a running club called Florenzo and Company, because Sarah's surname was Florenzo. When we married, it became Florenzo Lucas. And the mantra of the team is, there's no excuses. And that was very simple. Come for a run with me? Or what do you mean you're feeling a bit tired? That's no excuse, come on. Through to when Sarah was suffering with her cancer and started her treatment early on, she ran the Western Half Marathon with a PICC line in, no hair, but she was extremely fit and determined, and if I'm going to do this, I'm doing it. Later, when she couldn't get off the sofa because the chemo was literally knocking her out, that's hard, because she can't hide that. She couldn't smile through that, you know. And you're watching your wife, your absolute loved one, deteriorate on the sofa like that. That's horrendous, because you can't do anything. You can hold her hand, make her a cup of tea, but you can't, in that moment, you kind of want to pick her up. And I think that's probably the hardest thing, living with somebody with a debilitating illness at times, is the fact that you feel absolutely powerless. So the person from the hospice came and literally said, you need to come in. And admittedly, I think on the face of it, myself, my friends, our family felt it might be like a respite care. She would come in, get a bit of help, they would assess her, and then she'd come back out and we'd crack on. But sadly, she never came back out. And yeah, that was the only saving grace for me, was that I knew she was in the best place she could possibly be. I'd like to think the best place would have been in bed next to me at home, but we couldn't give her everything you guys gave her. Yeah, that was tough. And then, I suppose, seeing this place and its inner workings and what everybody does blew my mind. It blew my mind. I had no idea. And now I've got a fundamental understanding of end-of-life care, because Sarah wasn't ever well enough to leave. The people here, they're not nurses. They're not nurses. I can only really describe them as angels. You never thought they were doing this for the money, or this is a job. It was kind of like they were born to do that. You know, the people here, they gave the children the opportunity to have one-to-one counselling, and the girls jumped at that, and because, yes, where they would talk to their mum on a daily basis, anytime they wanted. Obviously, they're still talking to their mum, but they're never in any way, shape or form going to burden her in this situation. So the fact that they had people here to talk to was amazing, and it gave them someone else and something else outside of all of us, outside of the family, outside of the friends, where they could, you know, go and say whatever they wanted, and that was private for them, and that's really beautiful. And I've been really proud of what we've achieved since Sarah's passing, because I want everybody who ever has to go through the trauma of a loved one passing away through any illness, where they end up here, I want them to be able to have here, because without us raising money, there's going to be no here, you know, or what you can offer is going to be scaled back or not as good, and it's not fair for people to have to go through what we've gone through as a family, not have all the potential of not having what this place offers, and it offers everything.